There we go. All right. Hey, welcome back into Theo's Coffee Break podcast. I am Theo, and we're just going to jump right on in. Today, we're going to be talking about AI fatigue and addressing a pretty big elephant in the room about in what process do I use AI in my music and podcasting. And so that's what we're going to be jumping in here. I want to point out I'm not using a script today. I have some amazing notes from a conference I attended this past week with Podmatch. Shout out to Alex Sanfilippo for sponsoring my ticket. Alex and Jamie did an incredible job. This is my second time attending this conference, and again, I was just blown away, and I learned so much. So, anyways, that's where I'm gonna stop the video recording. If you want to hear the rest of this conversation, I'm pretty much gonna be just chatting and talking about how I used AI in the past and why I am not using AI moving forward. And so if you want to hear more about that, tap in to this week's episode where I'll be talking about AI fatigue. And for those of you who are listening now, we're going to keep this train a-going. So stick with me here. We're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty and talking about AI fatigue and why we are just burned out. Okay, so now that it's just you and me here, I don't know where to begin. So I think what I'm gonna start with is some of the high level stuff, some of the stuff that I learned from the podcast conference that I think makes a lot of sense about why we are just worn out with AI. So the first part is AI has really set the standard on our knowledge of things. We have access to knowledge at just like the touch of a finger. But where it's different from using Google and in other places of learning, whether it's e-learning courses or even going to the library, which sounds archaic now, AI is able to provide an answer from multiple different viewpoints, multiple perspectives, and AI also learns how you like to receive information. And so essentially it leads to the second point, which AI has changed the relationship with how we learn now as human beings. And so with that being said, the phrase working harder or working smarter and not harder, that's what I'm trying to get at. It makes a lot of sense as to why we would want to use AI and why it has integrated itself so deeply into the way that we live. I mean, we're now seeing these monstrous data centers. Suddenly, everybody is an expert online. Everybody knows what they're talking about. And I mean, if you're like me, somebody who was really into AI there for a hot minute, you hear it now. And when people talk, you're like, okay, I know that you came up with the idea, but in how you refined it, you definitely used AI there. So then you question whether or not have you actually embodied this knowledge? Is it actually wisdom, or is it just AI regurgitation? And so it leads to the third thing, which coming back full circle, everybody's an expert now, okay? It's like information overload, all right? Like we're all exhausted at this point because it's like each time you listen to something, or you go on your social media, it's just information, information, information. Okay. Um, and not to mention, you go to the bank, you go to, a doctor's appointment or wherever. AI has substituted like the humanity out of everything. And for a lack of better words, it's really effing annoying. Like, let's be real here. I want to talk to a human being, and I never thought that I would sound like an old person. Granted, I am 33 years old, but that's something where I was like, oh my God, like, I really wish I was talking to a real person right now, and not a system, not AI, for the love of God. Like, I ugh, and then you just don't know if it's going to go anywhere, right? Because here's the thing, AI essentially is just a mirror, all right? It's literally a reflection. And this is where there was a learning curve there of understanding that AI, as much as it is quote unquote all knowing, it is subject to error because it's reflecting you back to you. Okay. And I've even caught AI making mistakes, and that really bothered me. And that's where I really questioned my relationship and how I've been utilizing AI in my podcast. So, as I said before in the previous episode, this is episode 2 of season 2. Beforehand, it was shared ideas, shared vision, and collaboration, and AI was a part of it. And in the process of how I was using AI was essentially taking a really raw idea, and putting a lot of myself into that idea, and then refining it through AI. So by no means am I apologizing for the work that I've put out. I mean, it really opened the doors for me in a lot of ways. And essentially, this podcast, for a moment there, and will probably continue being, is a space of healing. Okay. I was learning things about my past and about myself that I haven't been able to figure out. In a lot of these episodes was finding the answers to things that really were troubling me and hindering my growth and preventing me from moving forward in life. And so not only was I reclaiming my voice, but I was reclaiming my narrative. And this has been really empowering for me. And so I do want to say that the lessons there were learned, but the message and how I wanted it to be said, I wanted it to be refined because I didn't want to offend anybody, right? And I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. However, now coming back from this podcast conference, the biggest thing that we have talked about, or that they were talking about and I was listening to, and I really, really agree with this, is that we need to bring the human back into the equation, right? Because now it's no secret, okay? Everybody knows, everybody can hear it, and everybody is aware when somebody is using AI to talk about something that they are trying, like a message that they're trying to convey. And here is also another sad truth. AI is not going anywhere, okay? It's not. We all need to get on board with it. However, there must be boundaries placed, okay? Because it is taking the world by storm, and there are some really, really valid and deep concerns about how this is going to change. We are living in a world right now that nobody recognizes, okay? This is a mess. The world that we are living in right now is a mess. And there is so much transformation happening. that the real question is it going to be for the better or is it going to be for the worst, right? And while we are in the midst of this transformation, I think that it's really important to know when to use a tool and when to stop, okay? So back in high school, when I graduated in 2011, and it's so silly for me to say this. I laugh about this, and I was laughing about this when I was writing down this talking point. The calculator. The calculator, man. If you were using a calculator, you were cheating. I have always struggled with math. That has not been my strongest point. I've gotten to a point now in my adult life where I simple math like multiplication, division, like I can do a lot of this in my head and people think that I'm an expert and I'm like, "Oh my god, no." When I worked at the bank, like counting change back, like it's just really silly the things that people care about. But now it's not so silly anymore because it's kind of like, have we really become so dependent on the digital to solve everything, to like essentially think for us? Is an original thought really an original thought anymore? Is the content that I'm seeing online really real or is it just AI generated? And to think that the way that history is repeating itself is like back when I was in high school, if you were using a calculator, you were cheating. You were substituting your brain to have a calculator figure it out for you. Now you can essentially be whatever you want to be. If you want to be a therapist, if you want to be a banker, if you want to work in the healthcare field, you can bet your bottom dollar that AI is going to be a really big part of your job and you're going to have to learn how to use it and integrate it into your role. Or here's the fun thing, don't get mad at me, or AI is going to take your job. I think that recently I saw that there was over 14,000 layoffs in the tech industry because they were laid off because of AI taking their job. And we can talk about this all day about how many job layoffs have happened in 2025 because AI is replacing the human. And we're not going to go down that road because really the other part of the conference was talking about how we're going to move forward. So I'm going to talk to you about how I'm going to move forward with Theo's Coffee Break podcast so you can really understand my vision here. There have been a lot of questions surrounding why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I in the podcasting space? And my direction for the Theo's Coffee Break. So I'm going to get right back to it, is that I want this to be a coffee break, okay? I want to get focused in on this. And so each time now moving forward, when you tap into an episode, I want this to feel like a real coffee break conversation. That if you and I were having coffee together, this is what I would sound like. These would probably be the things that I would be talking about. And essentially, I'm still going to stand by what I've said in the past. Email me. Let me know what you want to talk about. I have a couple really great, amazing, loyal listeners that email me every time after they listen to an episode and share their thoughts. Share how this has become a part of their day. Share how this has become a part of their week and how this podcast has become a part of their routine and what it has brought, to them, the value. This is a healing space. So when I say that anybody is welcome at my coffee table, I really do mean that. I know what it's like to feel as if you have nowhere to go and no one is listening to you anymore. And where you feel like that you don't have a friend, or anybody that you can trust. You can trust me. Everything is confidential. I promise you that. I promise you that, because that's what we need right now. We need to know that there is still somebody out there that you can talk to, and they're not going to go around blabbering your business to everybody. Now, with that being said, I am not a licensed therapist, but for in this moment here, I am your friend, and I get it. Life is hard. Oh my God, is life hard. Everybody is going through it, and nobody is being excluded from just this really, for lack of better words, unforgiving wave. We're all experiencing changes that we did not expect. And the things that are happening right now really do feel like they are out of our control, because to a degree, they are. They just are. There's very little that we can manage within our own lives that isn't going to stop the chaos and destruction that is happening outside our doors. So I do want to say that moving forward, we're really going to be bringing back in the coffee break aspect. And in terms of talking topics, I'm going to be doing what I've been doing and keep doing that, is talking about things that I'm really passionate about, but things that I'm confident in talking about because of the life that I have lived. I have lived a very interesting life, and as things have been unraveling, I am finding out more about what is happening behind the scenes of my life, and I need to talk about it. I do. I don't know who to talk about it with, but I know that somebody out there is going to really benefit from hearing my story. And I want this podcast to be a beacon of hope, built on authenticity. So that's the last part. Authenticity. And what is it? Authenticity is not perfection. It is the definition of progress over perfection. And AI is all about being perfect. When I was arguing with AI, yeah, I got into it with AI. So this is the one thing I can talk about that I do feel comfortable talking about. I was trying to set up a release schedule, and I cannot remember the specific date, but I was trying to get it all lined up for on a Monday, and it kept giving me the dates for Tuesday. And shout out to Sam Spencer, by the way. That is one of my loyal listeners, and I love them so much. They have also been a guest on my podcast, and when I tell you that interview, I was crying. I was bawling. Such a powerful testimony, such a powerful interview. I would really, really, really encourage you to go back and listen to that interview with Sam Spencer, because it was such a beautiful conversation. But anyways, Sam Spencer, they pointed out that, hey, your episode didn't come out today. And I was like, what? That's so weird. And I went to go look back, and all of my episodes were scheduled for Tuesday. And I got it corrected, obviously. I got the episode out, and it came out later on that Monday. But I got into it with AI. I was like, what? You gave me these dates and I wanted it for Monday. And that has been no question here. Everybody here should know that a new episode comes out on Monday. All right. We all know it. Why does AI not know it? And AI argued with me. They were like, no, the dates that I gave you were for Monday. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're for Tuesday. I literally took a screenshot on my calendar to show them that on my calendar, these dates are for Tuesday. And it like crashed out there for a minute. And then I resubmitted it. And I was like, these are the dates and they are for Tuesday. I want dates for Monday. And then it finally admitted, and I will tell you this too. Hold on, wait, my computer just did something funny. Okay. Anyways, and I will tell you, when it came back, and this was like 10 minutes of me arguing with AI. I kid you not. It was like almost 10 minutes. It surrendered. And I was like, oh, I am so sorry. My bad. So that is another thing. AI is all about being perfect. AI is all about knowing everything. And I will tell you that there will be things that AI does not know. And that is why I think it's really dangerous. Okay? To some degree, if you are talking about things with AI that you do not completely understand, especially if it's trauma from your past or just things that you don't know, things that you are confused about, things that you're having doubts about, things that you're worried about. That is not what AI is for. That is not what AI is for. That is when you need to get a medical professional involved or you need to work through that on your own. I really encourage journaling. I have a running playlist now. There is a 2-part series. It's the Unravel playlist. I've posted about these. I've been using them as like an open book journal, and I've shared them online as well. To which I might talk about why I made those playlists in the future and more about where I'm coming from and why those are so important to me. I also journal every day. I do. I journal every day. I recently just got an Apple Watch and there's like a mindfulness thing on it where I can check my mood, and I check my mood twice a day, and I've just been monitoring my moods throughout the weeks. Excuse me. To get a better idea of where am I at and how do I need to regulate. And this is definitely something that you need to take ownership of. And this is definitely something that you need to understand that you have the power to change, okay? This is not for AI to figure out for you, okay? And I know that there are moments when when AI feels like it's your friend, but AI will straight up tell you, ChatGPT will straight up tell you, I am not your friend, okay? It will tell you that I am not your friend. I am not the person that you should be talking to, and it'll give you resources and stuff like that. And so when I was talking about some of my experiences in the past and trying to refine my scripts, these were things that I've healed from. These were things that I were trying to break down, and it thought that I needed more support, to which I am definitely open to. I'm not saying that I'm not open to it. What I am saying is that everything that I've talked about in the past is coming from very real points of my life. And again, in those times, I felt really alone. I felt like that there was no hope. I felt like that there was not a light at the end of the tunnel. But I am here to tell you that there is. And so I kind of want to leave you with this. We are all in the same boat right now, okay? We are really all in the same boat right now. We are all trying to figure out what is going on. What does the future hold for us? Because right now it does not look like it holds much. And there seems to be this impending doom that just keeps on becoming more apparent. More apparent and very clear that silence is being complicit at this point. If you are not aware of what is happening in the world, then that is your choice. And that is not a good choice to make, okay? We all need to face this head on. And I want to say this too, is that I think you will be surprised. If you say what's on your mind, there are more people in the room that are going to agree with you versus people that are not. I have been very surprised about how this podcast is taking off and how I now have a pretty loyal listenership. And I'm really hoping that I don't lose people from this point moving forward. That has been a big fear of mine because there has been a certain cadence, there's been a certain tempo. with my episodes, but now I am not using a script anymore. Okay, I'm probably gonna have some talking points and going off of that, but I'm really just gonna be telling you what I think off the top of my head. These are things that I think about often. These are things that I journal about often. These are things that I'm processing or have processed, and I really, really want this to feel like a coffee break. I don't want you to feel like that you're not listening to a real human being, and I don't want you to question the authenticity in my work in the past. So I pretty much said it, but I'm just going to say it one more time. Where I used AI in the past was to refine the message, okay? And if I could go back, I would not do that. I would actually give you the raw idea, because how I start writing my scripts, or how I did start writing my scripts, was a general thought, and then I built on that general thought until I created something that was worth sharing. And when I got to that point, then I threw AI into the process to refine it. And so it pretty much just changed the language a bit, which now I really regret, because I don't want anyone to think that AI created this. It did not. Every piece of this podcast was built from a human being. My logo, that was a collaboration with Christine Hang. Another amazing interview with her small business, and she makes enamel pins, and she is a huge fan of BTS and K-pop. She helped me build that, create that graphic. We made it together. The song at the beginning, I made that the theme song with my boyfriend. Okay, and we had a lot of fun with that. You can hear our dog Django snoring in the background. You can hear the birds from our backyard. The coffee pot, the espresso maker, was from our kitchen, and we brought it into the studio. Like, there are so many organic human elements. The wind chimes are the wind chimes in our backyard. I took them from the backyard, brought them into the studio, and manipulated the sound with that. And the people that I have had as guests on my podcast are very real people who have incredible stories to share. And I do not regret anything that I have made or built here. But the one thing that I would change was that when I got to that point in my script, in my writing, I wish I didn't run it through AI and have them refine it. Okay? So authenticity is embracing the flaws. Authenticity is embracing that we are building this together. Progress over perfection. Everybody is on this journey together, right? And now we are all experiencing a worldwide transformation to where we are now really jumping into the unknown together. We have reached a point of no return, and we don't know where this is going to go. And it is scary. It is scary. There is a lot of fear and a lot of valid reasons to be afraid. Okay? But listen. We can do this. And we will figure it out. Because if history has anything to say, at some point, everything works out. It's inevitable. And that is a promise. And that is a promise that has been proven. But there is going to be a mess in between. There is just going to be a huge effing mess. It's going to be chaotic. There's going to be tragedy. There is going to be unavoidable crisis that is just going to happen. And there are so many people, including myself right now, where I don't know how to move forward, but I have to. I have to. And I don't know what that completely looks like right now, but I know that this is where I have to start. Okay, so every Friday I release a new song. And that song, it's literally me and my phone and the piano. Okay? And the recording, after doing like, I don't know, a couple dozen recordings, it's all in one take. Okay? And they're not perfect. But I want to show you that the music that I make, the talent that I have, the voice that I have right now, this is where I'm at. And I want you to feel like that you're in the living room with me. You're in the bedroom with me. Because this is what it would sound like if I was right in front of you. There's no editing, there's no polishing, and there is no... I'm just doing the best that I can and taking the best out of all the recordings that I do of that song. And I'm like, you know what? This is the one. This is the one that I'm going to release this week. And no AI, just me and my phone. And then I use the voice memo app on my phone. That's it. That's it. And then that's where I got the idea. And then after this conference, I'm like, this is what I have to do. I need to take out the script and I need to remove AI, and let's just hope that this is the right step moving forward. So, let me take a look here about anything else that I really want to talk about AI and the fatigue behind it. I think that's it for now. And then next week's episode, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what we're going to talk about then. But that is where we're going to be standing. I want this to feel like a real coffee break. And if you want a little music, so you know what? This just hit me right now. I think I'm like developing this online coffee shop where you get a little bit of music and you get a little conversation. And it's all coming from Theo, aka Shin Yong. Look me up. I have had a really interesting music career, and now I can say I have a really interesting podcasting career. And this is coming from somebody who has made all of the mistakes, but this is also coming from somebody who has learned a lot from those mistakes. And a big part is failing forward and recognizing the effort, and that the effort does not always show the results that you want. But if you really want to achieve any kind of success that is quality and that will not go anywhere and no one can take this success from you, it's consistency. Okay? It's being consistent in how you show up for yourself and how you show up for the world around you. So, yeah, that's pretty much it here. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining in on this week's episode. Wow, what a journey do we have to look forward to going from here. I want to leave you with this. It's so important that you be kind, okay? But I really want you to start by being kind to yourself first. Hold grace for yourself. Be patient. Excuse me, sorry, little burp there. Yeah, we're keeping all this in, by the way. I'm not editing this episode. You're getting it raw, right from the mic, and right from the old noodle. But yeah, be kind. Have grace for yourself. Be patient with yourself. The old structures of the world before they do not exist, honey. Okay, we are in the thick of it. And it's kind of interesting to see how we now have to unlearn a lot so we can make room to learn what is new. And so, yeah, I'm in here. I'm in the boat with you. We're all in the same boat. So please be kind. Please be patient, but please do this for yourself first. And when you are gentle with yourself, you will be surprised how the world around you is gentle to you back. All right. Thank you for tapping in. And remember, you are always welcome here at my coffee table. See you in the next episode.